Yeah, so in order to make this activity as a launcher or main activity, we have to define an intent filter. This intent filter, for example, uses two actions. One is the android.action.main, the other is the android.intent.action.main. The other is the one is the action, the other is a category, android.intent.category launcher. So this defines an action which is main, which shows that this is a main activity, the main screen that is going to be launched before any other activity in our app. As soon as the app is launched, this is the one that we are going to see up front, and then it is from the category launcher. And if, for example, we want to define other activities we don't which are not our main activities, we will not define this intent filter, and we will define them here. In the same way, we can define here our receivers and broadcast receivers, etc. you know and This is if we want to define, for example, the API minimum level or SDK level, then we can define it here using those tags for the API and SDK levels. Um, I think we should also go through a little bit what kind of tags they are, so that you're a bit familiar uh, with and you get a complete command on Android manifest file. So for example, if you want to add any tags for permissions or SDK or minimum API level, you can, for example, find them like this. Just click this, and then you have, for example, permission. Just click on permission, and you'll get the option to add permissions. In the same way, if you add, for example, you get, for example, uses SDK. So with this tag, you can add the SDK levels, and similarly use permission. For example, you can add which permissions, for example, um, uh, access Wi-Fi state, for example. Just click here, and in this way you can add permissions. We will go through them. Of course, we need to add certain permissions in our app when we'll be making our first IoT project, soon. So in this tutorial, so these are all the tags: support screens, what kind of screen they're supported, compatible screens, and uses configuration, uses features, and all those things. You can add these tags like this, and they should be above the application. And if you want to add certain activities, just copy this and paste this here without the intent filter, and then change the name of the activity, and your activity will be added. And that's how you add things to the Android manifest file. So in the process, we have also seen our main project folder. This is our main project folder, Java. This has these three mm, folders, uh, two test folders and one our main application folders. We are not writing any test code for now. We will be just writing the main source code without any test code. So we'll be just adding classes in this part. And if we need to add certain libraries to our project, we can simply go here. Any libraries or modules we can add through new module or Android resource directory. We can add some resource. If we want to add some package library, we can add from here. And then, for example, this is our resource. Our resource has one tribal folder that will contain the images for our screens. Then there is a mipmap folder. This also contains the images for our screen. Actually, the tribal folder is valid for Android 5 or below versions, and now the latest versions of Android Studio are using the mipmap folder by default, but we can also define in the try but still support it. And then this is also contained in our resource project, these values that we already saw, in which we define the style, our theme and colors, strings. For example, when for example our app name IoT test can be defined here, then we can use it with with the variable app name instead of the IoT text. And then we have color. We can define the colors here. And that's it. Now we will go